Hello, my name is Craig J. Davis and welcome to my channel. It is a Sunday, so another Sunday, another sermon. As you can see, I've had to put my camera in a different position because where it has been previously, and it's always been a very good position, for some reason the light source is terrible because I simply can't get a light source. But here, at this angle, the lighting is perfect. I just also have to say as well that I have recently checked my Twitter account and I got an inbox message from a guy from Canada, and he said that my sermons are really helping his grandfather, who is a Christian. I don't know if they help him because he didn't say, and at the time I didn't think of asking him because I was more interested in what his grandfather thinks of these videos, and he said that they have really encouraged him and that my sermons have really given him hope. So there we are. It's because of things like this that is when I get encouraged even more to serve God more and to carry out his gospel, to carry out his words, where more and more people can have hope, and where more and more people can be saved to the lost. Okay, in this sermon today, we are going to be talking about evolution, and it's a lie. Evolution is a lie. It's never been proven. It's always been a theory, and like all theories change, unlike facts and the truth. And so if you've got your Bibles with you, as you well know, I always read from the English Standard Version, and we will only be going through, I wrote my notes down somewhere, we will only be going through a few verses in Genesis chapter 1, because Genesis chapter 1 talks about creationism, and all of you out there should know where Genesis 1 is. But in case you don't know where it is, it's at the very beginning of God's holy word. So in Jesus' precious name, let us get on with this sermon. Okay. And we will start from the very start. We will start from the very beginning. Genesis chapter 1 verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. I'll just stop there. Right? But I will read it again. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now, when it's talking about heavens, this isn't talking about heaven in the afterlife. This isn't talking about the supernatural. In this context, heavens in this context is actually talking about the physical realm. So the heavens in this context is talking about the universe, right? Heavens and the earth, the universe, and of course earth is also included. And speaking of the heavens, I don't know if you can see the poster where my thumb is, but that is a poster of our solar system. For those of you who don't know what the solar system is, the solar system is our star called the sun, and the orbiting 8 planets. Sorry, Pluto, we're gonna miss you, pal. Because even though Pluto is still there, it is no longer considered a planet. It's now a dwarf planet. But you see where the evolutionists have gotten involved. They're always changing. They can never stick to one thing because it's a theory and theories change. Right. So in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now, if you watch any secular program about the universe and about the origins of life, what do they always say? It came from a big bang, a huge explosion, which miraculously came from nothing. How does that make sense? But that is what they tell us. That is what they teach the kids in school. I remember many years ago, I was watching a documentary program on the universe, and funny enough, it was just called Universe, and the program was narrated by the late English actor John Hurt. And he was saying at the beginning of the Big Bang, 14 billion years ago, there was no time, there was nothing. The Big Bang, a huge explosion, came from nothing. Now look, with all due respect, we know that that's not possible. We know that that is physically not possible. I mean, see see these tea bags? See these? Came from nothing. You see this green tea? You see this green tea? Now, people didn't pick the green leaves, and people didn't design this box, and people didn't create this box, and people didn't create the foil to keep the tea bags in, and people didn't put the tea bags into this box and then sealed it and packaged it to be sold in the shops. No, see, this came from nothing. It just popped into existence. I know that is stupid. To say that is stupid. Yet somehow, for so-called experts, so-called scientists, to say that something came from nothing, just because they've been to college and university, for them to spout this nonsense, then somehow that's acceptable. But if I went around saying that, people would laugh at me, and rightly so. But if I've got a degree in astronomy, then that would be accepted for me to say such rubbish. And, but of course now, I am now seen as the stupid one. I am now seen as the one of being uneducated because I'm a creationist. And before any of you out there say, oh, well, Craig, the reason why you're creationist, the reason why you don't believe in evolution is because you're a Christian. No. Even before I became a Christian, I knew that evolution was rubbish, because it is rubbish. It's utter nonsense. I've always, even as a child, when I had a brain to think, I'd always question evolution. And when I called out the teachers on this, instead of them seeing me as an intelligent young boy who's questioning things, he's actually using his brain. He's not just accepting anything from anyone, whatever it is that they tell them. And then instead of having an interest in me, no, they just saw me as a troublemaker. And they sent me to the head master's office, and I would say the same thing to the head master. And instead of him saying, "God, we got bright, kid, you we any bright? No, trouble, you're a troublemaker because you're questioning things and you're not allowed to do that. We are adults, we are teachers, we know better than you. You will have detention and you will have 1,000 lines to write out. That is what you get for being a bright lad. That's what you get." And also as well, they talk about the big bang, yeah? A huge explosion. An explosion that somehow created everything into a being. Now, for starters, an explosion can't come from absolutely nothing. And an explosion, and this is where I'm going to be talking about real science here. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not an expert on science, but I do know a bit of chemistry. And explosions are created by different chemicals that come together that create a nuclear reaction. It's called chemistry. Ever watched Breaking Bad? If any of you haven't watched Breaking Bad, I suggest you do. Because what I've learned from Breaking Bad is that I have learned more about chemistry from Breaking Bad from all the years that I was in school. Because of course I was a troublemaker. I was a nuisance. I was a pest. So, right? So, an explosion is caused by chemicals. But an explosion cannot create life. Explosions destroy things. Put a bomb into a building and see what happens. I'm not condoning that, right? But since we are talking about the Big Bang, and since we are talking about, and we're talking about the origins of life, hypothetically, I'm just hypothetically speaking, put a bomb into a building, set it off. If the building doesn't get destroyed, but the building actually grows and expands and develops new towers on this building from the explosion, film it, send it to me, and I will renounce my faith in Christ. I will renounce Christianity, and I will become a full-on secular evolutionist atheist. And okay, we'll move on to Genesis chapter 1 to verse 16. That's it, right, yeah, right. Also as well, talking about how the earth, also as well, right, secular atheists, right, evolutionists have been saying how life created on earth. And in this program here, see this? Walking with Monsters. And it's narrated by English actor Kenneth Branagh, right? Now, this program is shit. It is so shit. It is absolute nonsense. But I do occasionally watch it because I do find it entertaining. And the reason why I find this so entertaining is just how rubbish the nonsense that Kenneth Branagh spouts out. right? And in the very first episode, this is what they say, how life was created on Earth. Now, a planet called Thea, right? This is Earth. This is Earth. This is the other planet called Thea. 4.4 billion years ago, Earth was completely devoid of life. It was just a fireball, a sphere of fire. Here comes Thea, traveling towards Earth at about 20 times faster than the speed in a bullet. Sorry, Superman. Right? So Thea's come towards Earth. Bang! They collide. Then Thea starts to orbit Earth. A small bit of Thea stays in the orbit of our planet as the rest are just scattered into space. The small chunk of Thea becomes our a moon, right? Luna, a moon. And then the oceans form and life is started. I'm sorry to laugh. Now, I don't know about you lot out there, right? But I know for a fact, and you do not have to be religious to understand this, right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist, no pun intended, to understand this. That if two planets collide with one another, it's not going to create life. It's going to do the opposite. This is what will happen. If there is only one life on a planet, or if there's life on both planets, and two of them collide, all life will be destroyed, eliminated, annihilated, instantly, in a nanosecond, in a jiffy. And there's the other scenario. If there is no life on both planets to begin with, and they crash into one another, guess what? Lo and behold, it will prevent life, because both planets will be destroyed. Yet, somehow, say that in a so-called educated program, and people accept it. I mean, isn't it more sense, right? Isn't it more understandable to actually believe in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth? Now, okay, I'm not saying you have to believe in God. I'm not even saying that you have to believe what that says. You can even be a Satanist and hate the Bible. But the point is, even you must surely acknowledge that even this makes more sense than this. And then the evolutionists say that, oh, the human beings, we evolved from subhumans in Africa 2 million years ago, and then we came from apes, and then we came from fish, and then we came from goo, and then we came from aliens from the planet Zog. If anyone said, see, this is why, right? When Charles Darwin first brought out his book, The Origins of Species, which talks about evolution, this is why he was a laughingstock. Because the stuff he was saying was nonsensical. But of course, what happens over time, it was said over and over again. It doesn't matter how rubbish or how nonsensical or how insane it sounds, if you keep on saying the same thing over and over again, and it's taught to kids from a young age in school, people will start to believe it. It's called gaslighting. It's called brainwashing. You know, they go on to say that, oh, we all came from different species. For example, say the fish. They say that we all came from fish. I don't know, say like 20 or 200 zillion years ago, some bloody thing like that, right? I don't care, right? But that's what they say. It was a long, long time ago, right? They say that we came from fish. That's stupid, and I'll explain why. Fish have gills. They breathe in water. Their habitat is water. Their home is water. Why? Because that's the way that God designed them. God created fish to live in water. Yet the evolutionists will say that somehow a fish, for some unknown reason, will one day, totally out of the blue, say, "Oh, what's that? There's a rock there. I'm gonna see if I can use my fins to climb that rock." And then they say that over time the fish came out of water, and the fish became a reptile, and over time a reptile became a mammal. I mean, despite the fact they're all completely separate species in their own right. No, that's what happens. But here's the thing. That would never happen, because a fish would never think of coming out of its own environment. Why? Because it's instinctive, and it instinctively lives in the water because that's what it is designed to do. The thought of it coming onto land would never enter its head. It doesn't even know what land is. It's a fish. Also, as well, if a fish did come out of water onto dry land, it will suffocate. Why? Because it's come out of its own environment. It won't be able to breathe. It's got no lungs. And if the opposite happened, say where it was developing lungs in the sea before it became to land, it would also die. Why? Because it would drown. See, when you start to question things, yeah, and start to think of these things specifically, piece by piece, brick by brick, then you come to understand how nonsense evolution truly is. I've spoken to so many atheists about this, and do you know what the answer they give me is? The same freaking answer time and time again. Oh, well, it took billions of years. So? It doesn't matter if it took millions of years or 5 seconds. If you're saying what is true, then sooner or later it would have to come out of land and it would die. If it developed lungs in the sea, it would still die. Right? If any of you have got a goldfish at home, take it out of its bowl and put it on the ground somewhere. See what happens. You know, and then they say that we evolved from apes. Sorry, I'll go back to the fish. Then they say that we came from fish. What fish? What species of fish? What types of fish? If we came from fish, why are there still fish alive today? If we evolved from fish, shouldn't all fish now be non-existent because they've all become us? It's the same about apes. They say, oh, well, we came from apes. What apes? Because we still have apes today. We still have the chimpanzee. We still have the orangutan. We still have the gorilla. Although, by the way, we are destroying their habitats, these creatures will be a thing of the past. So we go to Genesis, right? Chapter 1, verse 16 to chapter verse 1 to verse 20 to verse 25. If I can get that on. I should have a bookmark, shouldn't I? Right. Genesis chapter 1 from verse 20 to verse 25, right? And God said, let the waters swarm with swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the heavens. So God created the great sea creatures and every living creature that moves, with which the waters swarm, according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth. And there was evening, and there was a morning, the fifth day. And God said, let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kinds, livestock and creeping things, and beasts of the earth according to their kinds. And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth according to their kinds, and the livestock according to their kinds, and everything that creeps on the ground according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. One species cannot develop into another species. Each species produces after its own kinds. You don't have to be religious to see this. Dogs produce puppies, cats produce kittens, cows, elephants, and rhinos and rhinoceroses produce calves. Yeah, that's baby cows, baby elephants, baby hippos, baby rhinos. All big cats produce cubs, lion cubs, tiger cubs, leopard cubs. Penguins produce baby penguins. Bears produce baby bears. Insects produce baby insects. Birds lay eggs and they hatch and they become the bird from the parents. In other words, a seagull lays an egg. The egg hatches. What you get? A baby seagull. Dogs can't produce rhinos. Rhinos can't produce ants. Ants can't produce aliens from the planet Zog, and it's no different for us human beings. Human beings produce human infants that we call babies. It never changes. It's the same. Yes, a species can grow or shrink or grow fur or lose fur according to its environment. If the environment changes and they don't adapt, they die. But they're still the same creature. And also as well, talking about our, when I said earlier that a chunk of Thea became our moon. Well, if you go to Genesis chapter 16 to verse 18, this is what it says, right? Genesis chapter 1 from verse 16 to verse 18. And God made the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night and the stars. And God set them in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from darkness. Now, what do you think God is referring to here? Well, let us analyze this. And God's made the two greater lights. The greater light to rule the day. What's that? The sun. And the lesser light to rule the night. Well, what's that? The moon and the stars. And God set them in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth. So it was expanded, right? The stars were expanded. To rule over the day and the night, and to separate the light from darkness. And God saw that it was a good, and there was evening, and there was a morning the first day. So that's where the moon and the sun came from. God just brought them into existence. And then we go on about the origins of mankind. They say that we evolved from Homo habilis and Homo erectus and all those other so-called creatures. And they go on about the missing link. The missing link. We must find what missing link? What are you talking about? What missing link? I don't know about you, but I've got all of my limbs. I've got nothing missing. Just have a sip of coffee. I'm getting a bit overexcited now. I've got a bit of a dry throat. No, what missing link? What, you think God, he made a mistake when he created everything in the existence? What, you think God was drunk or something? What are you talking about? There is no missing link. You're off your heads, man. Anyway, enough of that rant. That's all I've had to say. I hope this has brought an education to you all. Please comment, please subscribe, please don't hesitate to hit the like button. I know I'm going to get a lot of grief from this video, but I don't care. I don't care. I am not here to be popular. As a Christian, as a minister, I am just here to spread God's word and to speak the truth. If you don't like this video, if you want to unsubscribe, that's entirely up to you. I won't hold it against you. But please comment, please subscribe, please don't hesitate to hit that like button.